Welcome to NewYorkTrue.com. During his campaign beach walk yesterday in Rockaway, Anthony Weiner discussed his own electoral history in Rockaway, which dates back to 1998. He also spoke about his general experience in representing Rockaway and offered some observations on the peninsula and its people. Most of the questions came from BuzzFeed's Ruby Kramer, while I added a question at the end.
I ran for Congress in a four-way election with 3 men from Brooklyn versus 1 woman from Queens. In fact, when I ran, the 2 other men represented part of my council district. And so I had to figure out how I was going to win this election. And I came down and visited Rockaway the first time, and I realized it was a lot like my district that I represented in Sheepshead Bay. And also, I just loved the people there. Like, I really kind of developed a sense of connection with Rockaway. So I walked door to door the entire peninsula that I represented, knocked on the door 2-3 times, like just live down here and spend so much time in it, because I figure if I was going to be able to get enough votes somewhere outside of Brooklyn, this seemed like a natural fit. It's the kind of the sense, you know, the kind of the sense that Rockaway had that they had been ignored for too long and that they were kind of isolated. I mean, they're geographically isolated. You literally have to put, you know, you ask them where they go shopping and they say the mainland. You know, like it really is that mentality. Their public schools were not as good. They used to send their kids to Brooklyn to go to school. So I kind of developed this just sense of like these are people that really needed someone to fight for them. And I also, even though politically it wasn't, I mean, this is a pretty evenly divided community. Plus it's a community of a lot of civil servants, a lot of firefighters, a lot of cops, a lot of teachers. Like these are the real, when I think of middle class New York, I think of neighborhoods like this. When I talk about middle class New York, you know, I kind of like, when I close my eyes at night and I think about New York, I kind of think about communities like Rockaway. And so I've always loved this community, and I would do this a lot, and it just feels right. It feels right.
How has Sandy kind of, I don't know, affected how this community is going to be?
Well, yeah, it's funny. Rockaway has this sense of resiliency. I mean, remember, September 11th, there was probably more funerals at St. Francis de Sales than any other parish maybe in the country after September. I mean, I don't know if that's a fact, but I think it probably is. You know, you had the number of firefighters and police officers who lived in the community. Then you had volunteers that went into action that were lost, Port Authority police. You had, you had people that worked in the towers. So there's a sense of resiliency that's kind of deep in the DNA of Rockaway to begin with. And so to some degree, the storm, you know, it was like for most communities, it would have been a death knell. People would have been saying, I'm out of here and I'm never coming back. Rockaway, within hours, you know, people were already plotting how they're going to help their neighbors come back. It's just, but they took such a body blow. I mean, this is all, you know, when I first got elected, there were these pitch battles in this neighborhood about the dunes that used to be, you know, dunes here. Now it seems like such a novel fight. Like now it's like that should be the least of our problems. And the other thing I love about Rockaway is that they would give it to me, they'd work me over, they'd yell at me, they'd shout at me, and then everyone would have a hug and share a beer and we'd go, you know, and I'd go to work because it's the kind of New York that I honor. It's like, you know, every place should have a Rockaway, but there's only one Irish Riviera, and that's where we are.
I asked if Rockaway had changed much in the 15 years that he had been walking the beach.
These are a lot more, the notion of Rockaway and Broad Channel and Breezy being summer communities, that's the thing of the past. Basically, these are all year-round communities. When I first got elected, Barbara, what do you think? Probably 30 or 40% of Breezy was full-time. Now it's probably now it's in a strange state of flux, but now it's 75%, so there's a little bit of that. And the same type of immigration and people coming and going. There are generations of people, Irish Americans, who've been living here. There's a new influx of Russian Jews that have moved in, but it's all like a very, I gotta tell you, the best, and I'm not saying this just to pander, although it will have a pandering sound to it. I've been to a lot of beaches in my life. These are the best beaches anywhere. I mean, just anywhere. The sand is the best, the coast is the best, it's just great. We do need jetties and groins here, but that's a conversation for another time.